Welcome to the Coachzing Show, helping you work less, earn more, and reach more people through creative content marketing. Join the Coach Zingers community, where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come together to discover the latest trends, forge powerful joint ventures, and grow their business together. Go to coachzing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello and welcome back to the Coachzing Show. This is your host, Doug Foresta. As always, this is a show we help you, coaches, therapists, speakers, and authors to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. Back with me today is Lori Kennedy, and we're going to talk about something that, it's funny, I was actually thinking about this earlier today. It was had popped in my mind, and Lori kind of expressed it better than I could, which is about the difference between creating content and creating sales content. And we talk about the importance of creating content on the show all the time, but yet there is a way in which you could create content forever and never see a client or sales or have your business grow. So we're going to talk about why some of you, why if you're struggling, you're creating content, you're going, but I'm putting so much content out there, why am I not getting the traction that I want? We're going to talk about that in this episode. I'll say a little bit about Lori, bring her right back on. With over 13 years of experience in the fitness and nutrition world, Lori is the founder and CEO of the WOW Nutrition System and the Wellness Business Academy. Since founding the WOW Nutrition System in 2007, Lori and her WOW practitioners have helped thousands of clients achieve their nutrition and weight loss goals globally. She's on a mission to improve the lives, both physically and emotionally, for 1 million people by 2022. She transitioned out of brick and mortar business and took her entire company online in 2012. And since then, she's run many successful online launches, netting multiple six figures, produced an annual 2-day live event called the Wellness Business Summit, and coaches and mentors thousands of alternative wellness practitioners to take their businesses online so they can create a business around their ideal lifestyle using direct marketing systems and an affiliate sales model. Her biggest accomplishment is working alongside her husband to grow their business. And she goes by the motto, "My life, my terms." And you can visit her at LoriKennedyRHN.com. That's LoriKennedyRHN.com. Lori Kennedy, welcome back to the Coachzing Show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
Thank you. So, let's talk about, I thought this is a great topic and one that certainly will be of interest to listeners. So let's talk about the idea that, I guess I'll put it this way. So I heard that I'm a new coach and I heard I have to create content, and I've been writing blog after blog and doing videos and everything that people told me to do, but I'm still not getting any traction. Can you say a little bit about the difference between creating content and creating, as you called it, sales content?
Sure. So, and I think this goes for anybody who's trying to grow a business, whether it's online or offline, and more than just for new coaches. But when we're all taught to create content, it doesn't matter what guru you follow or what marketing book you read. We're all taught to create content, to post on social media, to create videos, to blog, to have a newsletter, and creating content just for the sake of creating content, although it might be a high value post, without having some strategy behind it and asking yourself 3 questions, which I'll share with you in a bit, can usually leads you to nowhere. It usually leads you to having a really great library of articles that rarely get read or acted upon. So creating content, for the sake of it, because you have to post, without taking the time to plan and really think about how the reader will get results from what you're creating or what you're writing about, is really the difference between someone who's going to be successful and someone who is running on the hamster wheel over and over and over again for a year and not really gaining traction.
So can you say a little bit more about the kinds of content, or first of all, you said there were those 3 questions, so maybe you can share that with us.
Sure. So the 3 questions that I shared in a blog post recently that you want to ask yourself before you create content are, what is the purpose of this piece? Whether it's a selfie or a video or an audio or a webinar or a blog post or a newsletter, what is the intent? What is the purpose? What do you want the reader, listener, watcher to do? And then the next question is, are you telling them to do something? Are you giving them a call to action? Is it clear what you want them to do in plain English? No beating around the bush. Is it clear? And then the third question is, are you providing some type of quick, actionable result that they can get in advance of working with you?
Right.
And the last one's really important, and I know that that might bring up the question of, well, I don't want to give away all the goods before they pay. The reality is you're a complete stranger online, and most people don't trust complete strangers anyway, regardless of whether they're standing in front of you or they're online. And you have to earn the trust of that reader before they're going to open their wallet to you. So whether that's through a great lead magnet or a high value video or a blog post, you need to give the reader something to hold on to, something to implement now so that they can go and try you on for size, get results, and say, oh, she really knows what she's talking about. I want to learn more. That's really the point of a lead magnet, is to give results in advance. And so those three questions will help you think through the way to craft content. And just going back to that first question, what is the purpose? Is the purpose to just create high value content to give results in advance? Is the purpose to support a launch or a sale that's coming up? So is it supporting content, or is the content directly selling something? And when you think about the content you create in that way, then it becomes much easier to narrow down what it is you have to do because you know what you want to accomplish.
It makes a lot of sense. And there's a bunch of things in there that I wanted to pull out. I guess one I'll start with is the idea that your content should make a difference, right? And it should have some result for people.
Right.
And it's true. I'll read so many blog articles, or I'll see something or video, and there's nothing in there that really makes any difference in my life. So it's like, wow, that was interesting, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change anything in my life. So then I move on.
Right. Exactly. And I think that I always think back to recipes. I think that's why recipes get shared so well, because it's quick, fast action content that someone can take action on without any boundary at all.
Right. I made this and it tasted really good, right?
Right. Or there's no sort of barrier to entry between, taking action on a recipe, which is why I think recipes provide really good sort of results in advance. If somebody tries a recipe that you create and they like it, they're going to want more recipes from you. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I think to take it one step deeper, too many of us, because we love to educate and because we're super passionate and because we're likely taking the model we learned in school, we over-educate and we overcomplicate. And we don't relay information in the way that our subscribers actually behave in the real world. And that's really detrimental. So an example of that.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to ask you.
Yeah. So an example of that would be, let's say writing a blog. I'm just trying to make it applicable across all coaches. Writing a blog post on the 5 simple ways you can reduce your stress levels. And so instead of just making it really easy to read, like you're talking to your best friend, the article is more clinical in nature. It has long paragraphs, and the 5 ways to decrease your stress are not things that the typical, American person would do. They're too hard. It's too much at one time. And so we're not writing from the perspective of where our client or potential clients are right now and what they'll actually do. We write it from our own perspective. And therefore it becomes very overwhelming, which is part of the reason that no one will take action on it.
It definitely makes a lot of sense. My background is in therapy, and I'm always talking to therapists about this, that we can't, like, for example, the word empower just means nothing it means nothing to the average person. It's like one of those words that we love to use, but people don't wake up and go, I need to be empowered,
Right.
Nobody's, they're like, I want to, kill my husband. Well, how can I not want to do that anymore?
Exactly. An example that I use in my business, because I come from the nutrition background, is, when was the last time a client walked into your office or your clinic to say, I'd like to heal my digestive system and enhance my energy.
Right.
Nobody talks like that, right?
My stomach hurts, right?
Yeah, my stomach hurts. I have heartburn. I'm freaking tired all the time. That's how people talk. So, a big takeaway when you're listening to this is to use common language that is spoken in the real world, the way that you would talk to your friend. And when you communicate that way, more personal, it's not less professional, it's just more personal. You can still make it very professional, which I think is a worry of some people. But it's just down to earth and it's actionable that way. And that makes the content easier for people to consume and actually take action on.
Lori, one of the things too that I'm sure you hear this a lot from people. So when you talk about creating sales content or strategically creating content, one of the things I hear from people is, but I don't want to manipulate people and I don't want to be fake and inauthentic. Can you say a bit about, I don't know about you, but I hear that as something that sometimes keeps people from really being more strategic. And I was wondering what your thoughts are about that.
Mm-hmm. I also hear that a lot too, that people feel really pushy and they don't want to, be in somebody's face a lot of the time. And I think we need to look at the psychology of how we all behave and just, again, remove our stigma of what we believe the clients are feeling. A lot of the times they don't feel that way. It's just our own, what I like to call mindset monsters, fear and stigma. But psychology demands of us, or I shouldn't say demands. Psychology, if you follow sales psychology and you look at the studies that have actually been done, it's very evident that we all behave in certain ways. And that in order for us to make decisions, we need triggers. For example, most of us are procrastinators. We need a hard deadline. Most of us like to know that we're getting the best deal possible. Therefore, an early bird savings is very helpful. Most of us like to take advantage of timely bonus offers because then we really feel like we're getting the best bang for our buck, right? If you look at the way that we all behave, if you look at, the buy one, get one deals and midnight madness sales and what's going on, in commonplace business, it's odd to me that we don't, as coaches, as healers, as practitioners, don't behave that way as well because we are running businesses. And so the way that I like to think about it is if you're not creating content that falls in line with the way that we all behave psychologically, you're actually doing your potential clients a disservice because you're not helping them to make a confident decision to enter into transformation with you in whatever way that is in your business. Because you're basically letting them stay procrastinators. You're letting them hem and haw about the decision, and you're not activating that trigger and helping them to really come to that decision that gets them essentially a life-changing result.
As you said that, I was thinking the word influence came into my mind. And I used to struggle with this myself for a long time. And I was like, I don't want to manipulate people, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized if I can't influence people, I won't have a business. But you're right, I won't be able to make any change in the world. And if you're somebody who's a transformational coach in some way, whether that's making people healthier, let's be honest, we do want to influence people. We're not just these neutral observers. We do want to influence and change people's behavior. Right. So the first part of that is, right, we have to engage them. They have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a really good book by Dan and Chip Heath called Switch. And so when I read that book, it really turned the light on for me. Haha, that was a funny reference because it's Switch with a light switch. No pun intended. But they talk about, ourselves in two ways, sort of the emotional way and the rational way. And so the rational part of us is a rider sitting on top of the emotional part of us, which is the elephant. And we have a path in front of us. Now, the elephant is basically the emotional part, and the elephant is going to do what the elephant wants to do, no matter how much the rider resists, persists, kicks, whips, shouts, pulls the elephant, jumps up and down even on the elephant. The rider, the rational part, is not going to win. So we need, and the emotional part, the elephant is going to take the path that it wants to take. So it can take the easy path or the hard path. And so our job as coaches is to understand how to work with the emotional side of our clients and our potential clients to make that path as easy for them to go down as possible. And when you think about creating sales content and you think about it in that way, that's all we're doing is we're making the path to a decision to enter into transformation as easy as possible because we understand the psychological elements that are at play. And so our goal really is to help them to come to a decision and take a path. And when we can take a step further and actually detach from that outcome and just say, look, my goal is to get you to a place where you can just make a decision and take a path, whether that's to work with me or to not work with me. But in order to get the prospect or potential client to that place, we have to craft the path for them. And that's using sales content.
So one of the things I hear you saying is, tell me if this is off base, but there's a big difference then between if I am a wellness coach and I was writing an article for a journal and a local university about, digestion, right? Versus if I'm putting a blog on my website, it sounds like if I write that blog the way that I would write that journal article, which is pure education, that's going to be a big problem for my business.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you feel reading journal articles?
I don't. That's how I feel.
How many people, I always like to think about the people that are walking around in Walmart. Like that's for me in my weight loss business, that was always my ideal client, that 40-year-old woman walking aimlessly in Walmart. Well, she's likely not reading journal articles. What is she reading? Women's World, Oprah. How is that content different than a journal article? It's easy for her to understand and it's relatable, basically. And so when you write blogs on your website, you want to add in your personality, you want to make it relatable, and you want to be able to tell that ideal client exactly what to do, knowing that they'll be capable of doing it. And I think that's a big thing too, is not to overwhelm and really understand, what those potential clients are actually capable of doing in their life in that moment.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? So it's like, so you'll want to meditate for about 17 hours a week.
Right.
And, right. You're like, oh, I'm out of here.
Right. I mean, I'll give you even just a personal example. I had it in my head, I'm going to do yoga every day for the next 2 weeks for an hour. And I was like, who am I kidding? I don't have an hour to do that. So I was like, if I'm going to be compliant, I'm going to start with 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's in my own life, valuing, exercise.
Right.
I'm busy. I'm a mom. I don't have an hour. I have 15 minutes. Well, if you write a blog post about, the benefits of meditating for 30 minutes and doing yoga for an hour, how many people are you excluding? Because it's not, and maybe you're not excluding anybody based on your ideal client, but you're likely excluding a whole bunch of people because it's just not realistic for someone who wants to get into meditation and yoga.
Makes perfect sense. And Laura, you have something really exciting coming up, the Wellness Business Summit. And I wanted to give you a chance to talk about that for our listeners because this directly relates to what we're talking about here.
Sure, thank you. So the Wellness Business Summit is a multi-day live in-person event for health practitioners, energy healers, coaches, and fitness professionals. We're having it in Vancouver, October 23rd and 24th, and in Toronto, February 26th to 28th. And the summit is in Vancouver 2 days, in Toronto 3 days, and it is jam-packed with what's working now, business strategies, sales systems, marketing, mindset stuff, specifically for the health and wellness niche. So everything that's being taught is being taught in a way that is really easy to understand by anyone in health and wellness. And I think the reason that the summit has grown as fast as it has is because a lot of the sales and marketing tactics that are being taught aren't specific to health and wellness. So it's hard to make that leap in understanding how to actually implement them into a practice. And so because we feature speakers who are in health and wellness, who are wildly successful and who love to transparently share what's working for them and like secrets behind their success, the attendees walk away with like word for word examples of how to take Facebook marketing and webinars and influence and writing and really implement it into their business. So tickets, they go on sale soon. So you can get more information from my website. And if you end up coming to either the Vancouver or Toronto Summit, please come introduce yourself.
That's right. Tell if you Lori through here, tell them you met her on the Coachzing Show.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
So, and again, that I'll give the website again. It's LoriKennedyRHN.com, correct?
Yes.
All right. We'll put that link on the show page as well. Lori Kennedy, thank you for returning and sharing your words of wisdom. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. It's awesome.
Thank you. I want to remind you as well that if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, whether on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, wherever you take it in, please do go ahead and subscribe. That way you won't miss any new episodes. We'll be back Monday through Friday with more great guests, helping you to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at the Coachzing Show.
Thank you for listening to the Coachzing Show. Subscribe to us via iTunes, and please leave us a review. It helps us grow our awesome tribe. This show is brought to you by Coachzing.com's Speak to Publish book system. If your book is stuck in your head, we can help you get it out in just a dozen hours of your time. Go to Coachzing.com for more information. Have you joined the Coach Zingers community yet? You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to Coachzing.com/community to join now.